All right, Shane. So yeah, again, jumping to the other side of this one, let's give Ole Miss their due. I mean, they're top 20 in the nation for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Only game they've lost is, of course, to Alabama. And again, if Alabama were to find a way to lose somewhere along the way and Ole Miss wins out, they're headed to Atlanta. So everything, still in front of the Ole Miss Rebels. And you got a quarterback here in Matt Corral, arguably the best quarterback in the country, going head-to-head with Hendon Hooker. So Hendon Hooker's getting all this hype, yet Ole Miss has got to feel like they've got the advantage when you're talking about the head-to-head quarterback duo. Let me ask you about that, Shane. Who do you think, try to put your bias aside if you can, but who would you rather have in this game, Matt Corral, Hendon Hooker? I mean, both are just playing phenomenal football this season.
Oh, man, that's not fair, Mike. Because I am biased. I mean, let's just call it like it is. There's a lot of things I love about both these quarterbacks, and the thing that I love about Hooker is his mobility, and I think that's something that's really starting to become a factor here the last couple of games is the legs. Not that Matt's not, but I like Matt. I like his efficiency. I like the fact, you look at this Arkansas game, this was a fantastic defense that they just sliced and diced. They had no trouble moving the ball. So, I don't know, man. I think it's a coin toss. If I were to pick one, oh, that's not fair, man. I'm going Hooker. All right. All right, I am biased. And the reason is the confidence this kid is gaining week after week. I think you're noticing it with the passes. One of the things that Tennessee really struggled with at the beginning of the seasons was the big plays, stretching the field. We joked about Milton throwing over these receivers and stuff, but it now feels like these receivers and Hooker are on the same page, and they're just – I don't know, like they just all of a sudden got upgraded to top caliber crew. And all I can say is that has a lot to do with Hooker's confidence. He knows where his guys are going to be. He knows where they should be. The receivers know how hard the ball's going to come to him. I think that was another one. Milton throwing a fastball out there, but there was just the chemistry you're starting to pick up. So I'm liking that just because I think all around. It's the Tennessee weapons that have emerged. Now, I'm not saying Ole Miss doesn't have that. I'm just saying I've just noticed it more lately. It's not just one guy. It's not just one running back. It's whoever they put out there, they still find ways to move the ball. So right now at this given moment, the fact that it's at home and Hooker's confidence is through the roof, I'm going to go with him.
Now, let me ask you this, and this may seem like a stupid question, Shane, but if you think, I don't know, I could see it either way because Tennessee's been running the ball so well here in recent weeks, and yet Ole Miss has given up a lot of rushing yards to Alabama and Arkansas. So maybe it's just natural to say, well, hell, Tennessee will be able to keep that going. But I would also argue that when you think of Alabama, you think of Arkansas, very different rushing attacks from Tennessee. They've got monster offensive lines. They want to ground and pound and beat you into submission. And I'm not saying Tennessee can't do that, but it seems like they're more, they catch you off guard. And they have these slashing running backs, big play running backs. And I'm not saying they won't be able to have that same success against Ole Miss, but it just seems like different personnel. So I don't know, any concern from your side that, Ole Miss is able to limit that running game from Tennessee, or do you think it's just going to be Josh Heupel dealing up some huge runs here for the third week in a row?
Hell yeah, I'm worried, Mike. I'm a Tennessee Volunteer fan, man. You keep waiting for this shit to stop working, It's like we pieced together a couple of good games. The one concern I do have was the second half of the South Carolina game when these guys started getting pressure on Hooker. You saw him have trouble moving the ball, and how many times can you go 3 and out against Ole Miss and be out of the game? That's just how efficient their offense is. So there's a part of me worried about that. I want to make sure that I don't know. I don't think this game comes down to the trenches by no means. I think it comes down to play calling, and that's one thing. You look at the all-time record between these two guys. You give Heupel the nod. I don't know the talent gap between FAU and UCF, but I do like the fact that these guys, both of these coaches, they're really good about adjusting, not just at halftime, but during the game. This is going to be a damn chess match out there, and there's going to be some things drawn up that's just probably going to blow your mind. You're like, golly, they've been holding that play for a while. It's just that's what I think this thing's going to come down to blows, and this is one of those games that – I don't think necessarily any team really needs. I think Ole Miss is a little disappointed. They lost to Alabama. They thought they were further along, thought they would compete with the West. I know you just said they control their own destiny, but I don't think that pressure's on either team right now. It's just to go out there and perform, and that's why I think they hold nothing back here. There's no conservative play calling going to be Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
Lane, I'm curious, you've got a lot of guys on defense, I say a lot, a handful that are playing 80 snaps or more on Saturday. How big of a concern is that moving forward, and how close do you feel like you are to maybe having enough depth to alleviate that?
Well, that it was not good. A lot of guys played in the 70s and some 80s, which is not good no matter what, especially against the tempo. And when you're on tempo, so there's not a lot of delay between series. And we were a little bit big little after the first couple of drives of the game, on some quick scores. So, we got to play more guys. Guys have to give us confidence that, when they play well because we wore down, and, that was evident.
Lane, after you guys watched the film, did your perspective on what you saw live on the defense change at all? And are there things that can be quick fixes this week before playing Tennessee Saturday night?
Well, yeah, I think the effort on the last play, on the 2-point play was really good, and we played the play right. Same play earlier that, they'd scored on, and we'd let a guy go. I'm supposed to cover you, and I don't. So that was good. But, I felt like during the game and watching it, it was what we do on the other side, and what their system does with Kendall Browse. A lot of first downs, 37 first downs or something, and not getting off the field. And then with that tempo, guys wear down, and guys do not look the same later in the game on defense as they did early. And I think that happened on both sides. But so there's two keys to play. One's to play more players, but the most important one, get off the field on 3rd and 4th down, and then those drives don't keep going.
I know it's been 12 years or so, but obviously a history with Tennessee. Does this game mean anything different to you, and what kind of reception are you expecting there?
Yeah, I would think that you would think that, and would probably normally be the case. But there's two things here. One, that's a long time ago, and two, like we've done this thing, since USC have gone and played against USC, have played against Tennessee, have played against Alabama. So it's not like, hey, all of a sudden you're going back to a place you used to coach to. And again, went there twice at Alabama. So, awesome place. I said it on some article last week about houses and where you lived. And they asked what was your, favorite house and where you lived. And I said the house in Knoxville, and they said, why? I said, well, it's a great house and a great setup with the river, but the people, really enjoyed people there, still in contact, with a number of them, and we'll see some of them, Saturday.